introduction, I will be presenting on the Personal Data Protection Act 2010, also known as Act 709. Okay. The Personal Data Protection Act 2010 is the main legislation in Malaysia that governs how personal data is processed in commercial transactions. The Act was introduced to safeguard an individual right to privacy, especially in today's digital and data-driven environment. This Act established a legal framework that regulates how organizations collect, use, store, and disclose personal data. With the rapid growth of digital technology, organizations increasingly rely on personal data, making responsible and transparent data management essential. Under the Act, data users are required to comply with 7 core principles, including the notice and choice principle, disclosure principle, security principle, retention principle, data integrity principle, access principle, and accountability. This principle aims to reduce the risk of misuse of personal data, create accountability, and enhance public trust in the digital environment. In 2022, Malaysia was shocked by viral claims on social media alleging that millions of Maybank customer personal data had been leaked and sold online. The screenshots showing names, identity card numbers, addresses, and bank account details were widely circulated, which caused panic among the public. This was particularly concerning as Maybank is one of the most trusted financial institutions in Malaysia. In response, Maybank issued a statement denying any data breach and confirmed that its system remains secure. An immediate investigation was conducted by the Ministry of Communication and Digital Cybersecurity Malaysia and the Personal Data Protection Department. Investigation found that the leaked data did not match actual customer record and contained invalid or non-existent account numbers, indicating that the allegations were likely false or manipulated. Although no actual data breach occurred, this incident highlights how quickly public confidence can be affected when personal data security is questioned. Therefore, compliance with the Personal Data Protection Act 2010 along with the transparency and prompt response is crucial, especially for financial institutions that handle large volume of personal data in the digital era. Consumer trust is extremely valuable and can be easily lost.
Okay, now I want discussing about factor of personal data issue. First, is it about failure to comply with PDPA. One key cause is failure to comply with the PDPA. This is include poor notice, weak consent, and excessive data collection. For example, an organization may collect consumer IC number without clearly explaining why or how long the data will keep, which violates PDPA requirement and increase legal risk. The second thing is about internal organizational weakness. Internal weakness also contribute to data protection failure. This include unclear responsibility and weak internal control. For example, when multiple departments store customer data separately with no clear owner, no one takes responsibility for updating security or deleting outdated information. The factor is lack of board oversight. A lack of board oversight is another major issue. When the board see data protection as only an IT matter, risk and often ignore. For example, a board may approve digital expansion project without asking the cybersecurity risk report, leading to underinvestment in data protection. The next is about human factor. Human factors such as negligence and misconduct remain a major risk. For example, an employee may click on a phishing email, an unknown share login credential, and then allowing hacker to access personal data. This often happens when training and awareness are weak. The last factor is financial and profit pressure. Financial pressure can weaken data protection effort. For example, management may outsource data processing to a cheaper third party without proper due diligence, increasing the risk of data leaks and non-compliance with PDPA.
Compliance analysis, disclosure and security principles. Now, let's look at how the Personal Data Protection Act was applied in the Maybank case. Starting with the disclosure principle under Section 8, this principle strictly prohibits a data user from sharing personal information with third parties without the owner's consent. In the 2022 incident, it was aligned that millions of customer details were being traded on a forum. However, Maybank successfully proved that no unauthorized data packets had left their secure network, confirming they had upheld their legal duty to keep data confidential. Moving to Section 9, the security principle. The law mandates that organizations must implement both technical and organizational safeguards to prevent data loss or misuse. Maybank demonstrates compliance here through a defense-in-depth strategy. By maintaining rigorous system logs and encryption, they were able to provide forensic evidence to regulators that their infrastructure remained uncompromised. This highlights that having robust IT evidence is essential for defending a corporate's reputation during a crisis. Next is the data integrity principle under Section 12, which requires data users to take reasonable steps to ensure that personal data is accurate, complete, and kept up to date. In the banking industry, this is not just a legal rule, it is a functional necessity for preventing fraud. Disproving the breach. During the investigations of the Align leak, Maybank technical teams performed a granular comparison between the leaked data and their actual live database. They discovered significant discrepancy. The information circulating online was either obsolete, incorrect, or mismatched. Because the data lacked the integrity required to be a direct extract from Maybank's system. The bank was able to categorically disprove the claims of a breach. Disprove that maintaining high standards of data accuracy is actually a primary line of defense for a corporation. Regulatory challenges and legislative evolutions. Despite being compliant, organizations face massive hurdles. First is the burden of proof. As we saw with Maybank, even a false claim triggers immediate regulatory scrutiny and a drop in public trust. Corporations must be in a state of constant readiness to conduct near forensic investigation and avoid misinformation. Financial implications of technical compliance. Moving on to the financial aspect of corporate administrations, adhering to the security principle under Section 9 is a substantial and continuous financial commitment rather than a one-time cost. To remain compliant, organizations must invest heavily in high-end cybersecurity infrastructure, including advanced encryption and real-time monitoring, while also bearing the expenses of mandatory annual penetration testing and specialized personnel like data protection officer. For many management teams, this creates a persistent strategic dilemma of balancing these high preventive costs against operational profitability. However, as the Maybank case reminds us, underinvestment in this area directly increased the risk of catastrophic statutory non-compliance. Navigating the legislative evolution of 2024. Next, we must consider the 2024 PDPA amendments, which have introduced a new layer of complexity to corporate governance by mandating data breach notifications and increasing financial penalties to upward 1 million ringgit Malaysian. This legislative shift requires a comprehensive overhaul of existing corporate frameworks and the redesign of incident response plans to meet very strict reporting timelines. The real challenge for administrators lies in interpreting this updated. The real challenge for administrators lies in interpreting these updated legal requirements and ensuring that all cross-border data transfers and third-party agreements are reversed. This is critical because the law now places a much higher level of personal liability on directors and senior management for any failures in data protection. Management of human capital risk and insider threats. Moving to the challenge of human capital, we must recognize that even with sophisticated technical safeguards, the human factors remain the most volatile variable in the compliance equations because employee negligence can easily bypass robust security systems. Whether it is unintentional errors like falling victim to phishing campaigns or the deliberate mismanagement of documents, these insider threats persist as a major struggle for organizations. Consequently, as administrators, we must establish a culture of privacy by design through constant high-level training and internal audits to ensure every staff member understands their personal legal accountability under this Act. This is essential because human behavior remains a leading contributor to data-related incidents, requiring active management through ethical leadership and strong internal controls, rather than relying solely on technical protections. Upside of third-party data processor. Finally, a significant hurdle in achieving sustained compliance is the management of third-party service providers who process data on behalf of our corporations. Under the PDPA amendments, legal accountability has shifted to make data processor liable. Under the PDPA amendments, legal accountability has shifted to make data processor liable for security breach. However, the primary data controller or the corporation still remains responsible for ensuring these vendors implement adequate safeguards. It's a heavy logistical and legal burden where we must conduct extensive due diligence, revise complex service level agreements, and maintain continuous oversight of external security practices. This is particularly critical in sectors like banking that rely on global outsourcing, as a single security failure at a remote vendor's site can lead to a direct statutory violations and catastrophic data exposure for the local institutions.
Several recommendations can be suggested to strengthen personal data protection in the banking sector. First, banks should implement a mandatory data breach notification system. This means that if a data breach happens, the relevant authorities and affected customers should be informed within a specific time frame. Early notification is important because it allows quick action to be taken and helps reduce confusion and potential harm. Second, banks need to continuously strengthen their cybersecurity systems. As cyber threats are constantly evolving, banks should use updated security technologies such as encryption, multi-factor authentication, and real-time monitoring to prevent unauthorized access to customer data. Third, regular staff training should be emphasized. Employees must understand PDPA requirements and how to handle personal data responsibly. Many data incidents happen due to human error, so proper training can significantly reduce this risk. Fourth, banks should improve their communication strategies during suspected data incidents. Clear and timely communication helps prevent misinformation and reassures customers even when an incident turns out to be only a rumor. Lastly, banks should maintain close collaboration with regulatory authorities. Working together with regulators help ensure compliance with PDPA and allows banks to stay updated on best practice in data protection. In conclusion, although the alleged Maybank data leak was later confirmed to be false, the incident clearly shows how sensitive the public is towards personal data protection, especially in the banking sector. The case demonstrates that even unverified allegations can quickly affect public trust in financial institutions. This highlights the importance of having strong cybersecurity measures, effective internal controls, and transparent communication. Overall, the incident serves as an important reminder that continuous compliance with the Personal Data Protection Act is essential for banks to protect customer data and maintain long-term public confidence.